What's good? Glad you could tune back into the channel. In my last video, I took you guys along for the drive up to Thunder Bay, showing you all the pretty sights. In this video, I'm going to take you along for the second half of my trip in Thunder Bay as I camp out at Silver Falls Provincial Park for 5 days, and for each of those days, I head out to a different spot to explore it and shoot some photos on my Minolta 700. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Good morning. So, last night it rained, and I'm very surprised that my shanty shelter over here, my crooked kitchen, actually managed to stay relatively dry. I don't know how much worse the rain will get throughout the week. I hope that if it does rain for another day or two, it's not as bad. Last night and the nights following are gonna be pretty rough because my sleeping mat, which is a blow-up type of sleeping mat, it has a puncture somewhere, so it no longer holds air, and last night I was pretty much sleeping on rocks. It's a good thing that I have all those all those tarps and my well, I have a tarp under my tent. I have another mat that goes under my sleeping mat, and then my sleeping bag. I guess it's not as bad, but I mean, shit. My back doesn't feel the greatest. But oh well, what can you do? I'm definitely not gonna buy another sleeping mat while I'm out here. Screw that. I'll just OD on Tylenol or something. Oh, I can't wait for that Tylenol. Don't fucking burn your hands. After spending some time thinking about what I was going to do for my first day over breakfast, I decided that I would go redo the Silver Falls hiking trail because I wanted to retake some photos just to compare how my photos from last year would look from the ones I took this year. So after deciding that, I quickly got myself ready, made sure that my car was going to fall apart on the drive there, and I made my way over to the foot of the trail. Yeah, I definitely need a fucking truck. I can't keep riding my poor little sedan on roads like this. Funny how I'm starting my trip with this hike, because I'm pretty sure this is what I started with last year too. I remember me and my buddies got to our campsite pretty late last year, so we just ended up chilling at the site and then ended up coming here the next day. So crazy how that worked out. Yeah, let's go have some fun. Getting closer. Oh, wait. Oops. Yeah, we're already here. Nice. Here, check it out. Boom. Yeah, but the first cascade is over there. I'll take you to it shortly. But first, I want to grab a quick shot of that. There's a nice colorway going on. Reminds me of a retro outdoors colorway, if you will. In 3, 2. Let's go to the first cascade, and I'll take you up. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited now. God, I love nature. Arriving at one of the more picturesque lookouts along the trail, I shot this photo to compare it to last year's photo that I made. I can definitely say I like the Gold 200 shot more than the shot on Portrait 400 because the lighting was a lot better, and I guess because it was a little bit overcast last year, the shot kind of came out a little muted and desaturated. Definitely this year's shot is a lot better, for sure. We got closer. There's just something about being around waterfalls that just really puts me in a good headspace. Like, other than the fact that it makes me feel relaxed, I just feel a lot better being by rushing water. I do recommend if you're ever in Thunder Bay for a trip or whatever reason, go to Dog Falls. You'll love it. It's so like, I got no words for it. Like, you just gotta go experience it for yourself. By the time I finished up at Dog Falls, it was already 3 p.m. So I decided to go back to camp, make myself some dinner, and just chill for a little bit. I have no way of cook at all. I learned from a neighbor that we had access to the lake behind our campsites, so I went down there to take a few photos as well before golden hour ended and night fell. So the following day, I had a few spots in mind to visit. The main spot being the Jumbo Cove train tunnel, which is located in Nipigon. Then there's Eagle Canyon and the Terry Fox Memorial. Along the way, however, I remembered that the Terry Fox Memorial actually has a really dope view of the sleeping giant, and I took this photo last year to compare it to this year's photo that I shot on Fuji Superia 400. Okay, so currently walking up to the tunnel, and something that I didn't know, it's located on a Indian reserve. Whoa. Whoa! Dark places, not for me. How about instead we shoot the town, well, the reserve, maybe, okay, yeah, no, I photograph the town. Yeah, let's use different terminology there. What's the worst that could happen if I went in there? False alarm, someone from the residence actually drove up in their car to ask what I was doing there. I'm sorry, I really shouldn't be here. I read the sign and I at first thought I was gonna get kicked out, but the guy seemed pretty chill with me being there just taking photos and not causing any trouble. I didn't really want to go inside given the fact that I was
but I'm glad he was chill about it. He left me up with a fair warning, just telling me not to be a city slicker and just continue about my business as I was. And that's exactly what I did. Just continued to shoot some more photos, and I took off after that. After shooting around the Indian Reserve, I decided to end off the day at Eagle Canyon, where I'd be walking a 2.3 kilometer loop trail that had two suspension bridges, one of them being 300 feet long and the other being 600 feet long. Both bridges standing at a death-defying height of 150 feet above the canyon floor. So there's a reference for all of you who love heights. And to any of you who don't like heights but end up visiting here in the future with your friends, stone the fuck up, do the walk, because it was actually a lot of fun. Overall rating of Eagle Canyon? I'd say 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 eagles. On the third day, I drove up to Armstrong, Ontario, a small town located 3 hours north of Thunder Bay, to explore the abandoned Armstrong attack base, which used to stand in the 1950s to 1970s, serving as a general surveillance radar station.
Okay, so I made it to the attack base. And I won't lie, there are moments where, like you can hear right now, the wind blowing the trees around, but there are moments where the wind will just stop and all the sound will just kind of like disappear in like a vacuum space. There's so much to look at. But to do it alone, yeah, no. I don't even want to go into any of these buildings. Kind of creepy.
So the photos that you just saw and the rest of the photos that you will be seeing on this escapade, I shot on a roll of expired Kodak Ultracolor 400, and surprisingly enough, right out the gate, post-scanning, the photos came out pretty color accurate prior to any minor exposure and contrast adjustments that I made. And of course, on my way out, I had to leave a tag right out the gate because, you know, abandoned places, graffiti, you gotta do it. And I made my way back into town to fill up on gas before making my long 3-hour drive back. And while I was pumping gas, I noticed that there was this motel with orange doors, which gave a bright pop in color, making it stand out from all the other buildings within the general vicinity. Seeing myself out of Armstrong, I made my way back to Thunder Bay with hopes of arriving back to camp at a reasonable time to cook myself some dinner and at least get a good night's sleep in preparation for the following day, where I'd be redoing the top of the giant trail via the Kabayun Trail because me and my friends failed to do that last year, and I thought it'd be good to have another go at it to see how far I'd get this time. Before that, I made my way over to the small town known as Silver Islet just before sunrise to retake this photo of the general store that's situated at the center of the town. So to give you a better perspective on the hike is 22.7 kilometers with 500 So from where I parked, which is that green dot in the top right corner that you see, and from that blue dot, which is the fork leading to the top of the giant trail, the start of the top of the giant trail, it's approximately an 8.2 kilometer hike, which takes about an hour from point to point. I'd have to hike all of this, which is pretty much 4 kilometers of gradual elevation, which gets steeper and steeper over the hours of hiking. But getting on with the video. Hiking amongst the trees with the wind gently brushing through them put me in a calm yet focused headspace. Focused to the point where I lost track of time and I didn't even realize that I already arrived at T Harbor. So for anyone, literally anybody in the comments, leave me tips on how to shoot the moon and get its detail. I have yet to figure that out for myself. But if you know, please comment below and please rub your talent on my art. Bracing myself for literally every bone in the lower half of my body to break, I continued on the hike to the top of the giant trail. And hiking through there, I stopped at this spot here, which actually is an inland lake formed by water which kind of floods into that one specific area. Here's a shot of it from a bird's eye view. This shot overlooking T Harbor is one I'm really pleased with because of that glow in the top left corner. I have no idea how I got that, but I'm definitely happy with how dramatic it makes the photo look. Maybe cinematic's the right word. I don't know, but the yellow leaves contrasting on the bottom right corner adds a little bit more color and pop to the photo. And the same goes for this self-portrait of me walking past this tree with the light bouncing right off the tree trunk and creating this radiating glow to it, so to say. So continuing on with the hike, 3 hours passed and I eventually made it up to the summit of the Sleeping Giant, where I ran into a few hikers making their way down and they informed me that it would be another 15 minutes until I got to the top of the giant lookout. So I stayed focused, kept to the trail, and eventually I made it to the lookout. And was greeted with nice lighting conditions, pristine blue waters, and oh man, the foliage. The foliage was absolutely lush green. Even the trees that were turning yellow, they just added so much more color. I was having way too much fun walking around and blasting through the roll of Portrait 100 that I had loaded. So after blasting through that roll of Portrait 100, I stopped for a quick nap and I had my lunch right after. And then I made my way back down the trail. I loaded my Minolta with my last roll of film, Kodak Gold 200, and on my way down I shot these 3 photos. And then I decided to just say, f it, pack my camera up and just hightail it back to my car because, God, I was super exhausted. When I made it back to camp, I slept some more, had a late dinner, packed my stuff up, packed majority of my stuff up while they were still light out, and then called it a night for my final day. I decided to revisit Kakabeka Falls. It was just a short visit. Didn't stay there long, maybe about 20 minutes or so, just to take a few photos and blast through half the roll. And then I drove down to the border between Canada and Minnesota just to visit High Falls at Pigeon River. Now that was also a short visit. I would say probably about an hour. When I got there, it was at around 2 that I arrived at the falls. Just take these photos here. And I didn't stay any longer than I wanted to. If anything, I decided that day, I'd just start the drive back home to southern Ontario. And yeah, that was pretty much my stay in Thunder Bay. Didn't really do anything too crazy. I really would have liked to have kayaked or canoed on a small inland lake or where the fuck ever there's a body of water, but oh well. I guess that was the only thing that I really wanted to do there. But despite that, it was a fun trip overall. Couldn't really complain. I've been camping a few times with friends in the past before, so camping wasn't too much of a hassle. Hassle? Nah, too much of a problem. Cooking wise, I mean, I got by. Again, oatmeal and like easy to cook foods like chicken fajitas or whatever. I guess because I had each day planned out, I always had something to look forward to. But at the same time, I'm the kind of person that just kind of like picks a place that he wants to go and just goes spontaneously. But yeah, it was super fun. I think next time I'd like to backcountry camp around the Sleeping Giant and maybe even Portage. Who knows? But all I know is that Thunder Bay is a good place for literally anybody looking for a neat camping trip. Sure, all the spots that I drove to were an hour and a couple hours to about an hour out from where I stayed. I would definitely say that it was well worth the drive. I had no issues driving. Highly recommend camping out in Thunder Bay if you're ever in the area, for sure, no doubt. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry again that it took so long. Just been busy, enjoying my life. I've kind of just been working and just doing my own thing. Pretty much procrastinated on this whole video, I won't lie. Couldn't really be bothered to grind out a YouTube video. I just figured that, you know, take it slow and keep myself in check. But yeah, that's it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe if you want. And with that, peace.